Hi, everyone. It's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is Reginald Benbow. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. And let's just start this out with having you introduce yourself to everyone and letting them know a little bit about you.
Great. First, I am born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm the son of the city, raised in the Northwest and Northeast side, Baltimore City and Baltimore County school, public school attendee. And no one expected me to succeed. My father was in prison. I was raised by a single mother, but I rose to become the first person in my family to graduate from college. And then I went on to become a public school teacher, and now I'm a healthcare consultant working to help make healthcare more affordable and accessible for all. And that passion for transformation has led me to run for the House of Delegates.
The House of Delegates. And talk to me a little bit about making that decision about running this year. What's so special about this cycle, this time, this period in your life where you've decided that this is the time to really, uh, vie for public office and try to make a difference in Baltimore?
I was really motivated by the events of 2020. As you know, we're still in the midst of a global health pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were in a global health crisis. Then we were in an exacerbated, because it already existed, racial
Mm-hmm.
justice crisis. And from the pandemic, we were in an education crisis of students losing learning time. And so having those three different crisis moments, healthcare, racial justice, education, led me to say, hey, it's not enough to be a board member. It's not enough to volunteer. If you want to see change, then you have to get out there. You have to be at the table. And you have to be at the table where policy is being made. And in every state, the state house is where policy is made for the state. And it's so important. And of course, it doesn't get as much attention as Congress, but we need the right representation at the state level. And I felt like, especially for Baltimore, we needed younger folks that represented my perspective, that represented the perspective of being a former educator, of working in business and in healthcare. And so I decided late last year that I was going to embark upon this journey and run in 2022, which I think is the year of the state house all across the country. We see that change is really stagnating at the federal level. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and of course the Republicans. So there's so much that we want to get done, but we can't do it because of the stagnation in Washington. But guess what? We can do it at the state level and get things like universal pre-K, close the gaps that exist in healthcare, fund public transit, all at the state level.
That's so important. And you refer to yourself as an agent of change. Talk to me about some of those changes that you'd love to be a part of implementing and making Baltimore and Maryland a better place. Talk to me about those issues that really is on your heart that you're really want to get changed.
Yeah, so for me, first and foremost, it's education, education, education.
Mhm.
We need to help people both early childhood education and then for job upskilling and retraining. So we need pre-K, universal pre-K. Maryland is the wealthiest state in the nation per capita. There's no reason why we can't fund pre-K for 3 and 4 year olds, so that children don't just have daycare, but they're actually learning. And we know that that's going to combat a lot of systemic inequities that I experienced when I was a teacher, and even myself. I think I'm here today because I had access to Head Start and was learning at an early age. So that helped to make the difference for me, and it will help make a difference for many more. And then we need to transform our high school curriculum to make sure that we're integrating more technology, coding training, and also to help those who are already in the workforce relearn a different skill so that they can succeed in today's workforce. If you don't know how to operate Microsoft Office products or even a Google Suite, you can hardly get a good paying job anymore. So, education first and foremost. Second, in terms of digital equity, it's a shame that in both Baltimore City, very urban, and on the far western Maryland, and on the Eastern Shore, rural areas, that we lack digital equity. People lack access to high-speed internet. People lack devices. So we need to close the digital equity gap. It's not, it's going to help in terms of education, but it's not just for education, it's also for the economy. As you know, so many jobs have integrated into hybrid or completely virtual
Yes.
environments. So people need to be able to access the economy. They need to be able to participate in democracy. So much of information flows through digital media and content. So it's essential for democracy that we have digital equity as well. And then the third major change is healthcare. And I think the next frontier is really mental health care and making sure that um, it was already there, but it's been exacerbated by the pandemic, is our mental health care crisis, which has led many people, to unsavory addictions. But through mental health coverage and expansion using telehealth, we can make sure that people are happy, healthy, and whole.
Yeah, and that's important, to have really strong, vibrant, growing communities, and livable communities. So, of course, that's important. Talk to me about why you're the best choice for voters.
Yeah, I think you have to look at two things. Number one, a person's record of service, and then
Mhm.
what are they proposing? And so, if you look at my record of service, I started my career as an educator over 10 years ago, right here in Baltimore City public schools. And so, I have put my money where my mouth is. I fought already for change at that micro classroom level, um, and I will be an education advocate. I think education is a long-term and short-term solution to a lot of what ails Baltimore. If we improve education, that's also how we can attract families to Baltimore to become homeowners, to reinvest in the city, to grow our population, which will help grow the tax base, which will grow funding for public services. Um, since then, I've worked in business and been a problem solver, helping companies uh, to succeed and to expand healthcare coverage and lower the cost of healthcare through improved services. So that's what we must do to government. We must make government work for everyday people like us. I, go back to, hey, I'm a Democrat, but like to see a return on my taxes. And so in Maryland, we have a very high tax burden, and we need to have better services from that. It's a shame that the unemployment system was so difficult to navigate, and so many people didn't even get their unemployment benefits. They were owed because of the state government. And so we need more aggressive representation. And then thirdly, what am I offering? I think my solutions are informed from talking to over 3,000 people so far in the campaign. Education, closing the digital equity gap, safety, yes, we need better strategies and better policies. We just saw today that a police officer gravely injured and is fighting for their life because they were shot in their cruiser. This is unacceptable. Um, and we need, at the same time, police accountability. And we need to make sure that we fund the police appropriately and that we fund public services appropriately. If people have better mental health care, if people have better addiction services and treatment, that can uncover a lot of the ails in society. We can't expect police to solve everything. We need more social workers. We need more teachers. We need more affordable housing to create livable communities.
Certainly, certainly. And when does voting begin, by the way?
So voting will practically start in April, but much like the primary in 2020, now that we'll have no excuses absentee voting, most people will vote by mail starting in May of 2022, and election day will be June 28th, 2022.
Election day is, say that one more time.
June 28th,
June
2022.
28th, 2022.
And I have a countdown timer on my website, so we're just
Okay.
190 days away.
I love that. So I want to remind our viewers that if you want to make sure that you are ready for June of 2022 to check your status and register to vote, you can text Team Racine to 40649, courtesy of headcount.org. Reginald, how can people learn more about you, keep up with what you're doing, support your campaign, and follow everything about the campaign?
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. The best way would be to connect with us on any one of the social media channels. Facebook, Benbow for Baltimore. You know, I was sort of teased for growing up, but one of the beauties of having a unique last name is that it's very easy to find me. So Facebook, Instagram, Reginald Benbow, Twitter, Reginald Benbow, on my website, reginaldbenbow.com. I also have a Medium blog, Benbow for Baltimore as well. So I encourage people to go to reginaldbenbow.com/join to also sign up to receive our email updates. And we're very active on Instagram and Twitter as well, sharing policies and tidbits of what we plan to do in 2023 and beyond.
Amazing, amazing. So all of that, to the viewers, all of that will be in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. Reginald, thank you so much for joining me today, and best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you so much. And thanks for doing this series. We need people to get involved and vote in 2022.
Certainly. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, please follow Team Racine on all forms of social media at Team Racine, and like, comment, and share. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.